First of all, how are you dealing with this crazy time? I mean, it's a crazy time for all of us across the country and that kind of a thing. Just from a personal perspective, how are you dealing with all this crazy pandemic and the social distancing and everything shut down?
Yeah, I think the first thing is, my family's doing okay. I talked to my dad this morning. Everything he's doing okay. He's a little nervous of what's going on around the country. He's a little kind of timid to do things, which is good because people need to kind of respect this virus and understand that it is serious and things can't happen and it can happen to your family. I've got good family friends of mine that are dealing with it right now with their parents. So it is scary. But for my wife and I, again, the social distancing, we're keeping our distance from things. Just kind of staying at home. Like I told you, we're doing some honey-do list things. So doing some home improvement things that are well needed to be done, but keeping our distance and making sure that we're staying clean and following the guidelines set by the government.
Typically, OTAs would be happening in the next few weeks, if not now already. How odd is it to not be really doing anything football related here at this time of year after being used to doing it, with spring ball in college and then now in your couple of years in the NFL?
Yeah, it's a little different right now. Doing some things at home. Had to buy some fitness equipment. You got to make do with what you got. Thankfully, there's a couple turf fields down here in Kentucky where I'm at that I was able to do some running, some training at. So you're still staying in shape to what the organization, the franchise would expect you to be, but it is a little different. You're not allowed in the weight room. The facilities are completely shut down. So it's a little strange, and especially again, you don't know what the future is going to hold, and you just take it day by day.
What's been the message? I saw the other night the NFL is planning to proceed, with the 16 games and everything when we get to that point in the fall. But what's been the message to NFL players, from the league, I guess, in terms of that? I would imagine that message is the same that we've heard.
Yeah, it's about the same. It's just making sure that guys are taking care of themselves physically and especially mentally. Again, guys can get cooped up, and if you don't have a wife or dogs or kids that distract you, sometimes it can get to you mentally. Just stay active and kind of get a good routine. So for me, again, it's waking up in the morning, go do my run, go do my skill work, come back, do a little bit of weightlifting and whatnot, and then whatever's next on the honey-do list to keep myself busy.
Provided that football is played this fall, obviously we're all hoping that that's the case. But what's your mindset? It's hard to believe it's already year number 3. Your mindset, your goals heading into season number 3.
Yeah, for me, it was a big year. It was a disappointment last year, so I had to reevaluate some of the training things that I did and some of the things to make sure that I had the utmost preparation for this upcoming season. And again, it was you reflect the first 2 months of the off season. It's kind of disappointing to see where you're at, knowing the player you are, knowing what kind of player you really really are. So getting down to Texas was huge for me. And I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to getting back there already. It's just a matter of got to take care of yourselves physically right now to make sure you don't get sick and make sure your family members are taken care of.
Entering the second year under Zach Taylor, how good can this Bengals team be? I know there are plenty of high hopes. They did a lot in free agency, but how good can this group be, you think?
I mean, if you look across the board, in every single position, you got a stud. And I think that's the fun thing about the NFL. But if you really look across, there's positions, again, our wide receiver core, our defensive line, the offensive line is continuing to be molded. Our quarterback situation, our running backs, I mean, my goodness, you're looking, we're too deep in almost every spot. And all the free agency moves that we made this offseason, it's a really contending team. And again, we have a culture that's being built. And, you go through some of these readjustment periods. And last year was an adjustment period. Again, you struggle at some points, but there are positives and there are strides being made that people don't really understand and people don't realize unless you're in the building. So going into year 2 under Coach Taylor, again, I know the strength staff's excited. I know the offensive staff is extremely excited to get the offense going again. And then again, the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. So I know guys are excited.
You feel good? You feel healthy heading into hopefully what will be a season?
Yeah, no foot injuries, no back injuries. Shoulders are good. Knees are great. Everything is going good. So like I said, Texas was extremely, extremely essential for me to get down there and to get things prepped up for the long season ahead.
It's our first chance to talk to you since this happened. It's about a year now, and I know this is something very special to you, and that is the sudden passing of your high school football coach, Coach Anarella, last June.
Yeah.
What did he mean to you and your career, and obviously was shocking news to you and to everybody else, really?
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. Again, he was somebody I was so close with, and he was the reason why I did so much of the donation stuff and so many of the things that I did with Austintown-Fitch and kept around. And it's tough not having that person. Again, I used to call him throughout the off season just to check in, see, hey, coach, how you doing? Come into his office, chop it up a little bit and talk with him. So not having him here, it's you can feel it. And I know the community of Austintown definitely misses him.
Last thing, and we'll let you go. You've always been so proud to be from where you're from, and that is right here in the Valley. How much of that gritty mindset do you look to bring to the field every Sunday when you strap it up and get ready to go?
I mean, again, they're the few that are very fortunate enough to be in the NFL. Again, I know I've talked to LaShawn Daniels as well. You play with pride, and again, you're from Youngstown, Ohio, and it's something that you don't take lightly. And the reputation that we hold, and again, it's extremely, extremely special. So, the more grit, the better, and the tougher you got to be.